Sponsored by our friends at Nice Day, a creative marketing agency headquartered here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Queen City Unleashed. I'm Shea Lushina, and today we don't just have another Charlottean. We have a Hokie, and Hokies are some of my favorite people because I am a Hokie, married to a Hokie. And today we have one of the top 10 realtors in Charlotte, North Carolina, Andy Griesinger. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have a Hokie here. You know, it's there's a lot of us, but sometimes I don't feel like I see a lot of us out and about. And so when I was like, oh, there's a realtor and he's a Hokie, I said, that's the guy I want on Queen City Unleashed.
I think when our football team gets a little better, we might see more Tech fans around town.
I'm optimistic.
It's going to happen.
I'm optimistic. Not this upcoming season, but the one afterwards is the one where I'm like, we could be playing here for ACC championship, and that is what I'm excited about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going back. We're planning to go back for spring game. Haven't been back for spring game since before COVID, so I'm excited to see what happens.
It's a good weekend.
Yeah, as long as the weather holds. That weekend, that April weekend, can always be tricky because you get bad rain or Blacksburg gets one of those cold spells, and that it's like, this doesn't feel like spring. This feels like winter 2.0.
Yes, it usually rains that weekend.
So I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that it's good. But you're the second Hokie we've had. The others were Benny's Pizza. They were great.
I'm honored to be after them.
yeah. That was a lot of fun. Like getting to make a whole Benny's pie, and I'm like, I might have peaked as a Hokie here. Like I've made a Benny's Pizza with my own hands. They let me
set the
take
bar
it.
way too high.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm top 10. Okay, that recognition. We'll get into real estate and everything, but that just came out within the last month. What does that mean to you? How exciting is that to be recognized for your work? We were talking off camera, like how much of a grind this is, and like you're on 7 days a week and like showing 30 houses in a weekend. Like how top 10, what does that mean to you?
It just means that all the hard work is actually going towards something.
Yeah.
And I think that, we do a lot of work in this industry, in the real estate space, and sometimes it goes without any thanks. It goes without any kind of appreciation, and sometimes it goes without any pay too.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have that, it just shows that that there's proof in basically that if you put in the work, as Ryan Serhant likes to say, if you take care of the work will take care of you.
Yeah.
And so as someone who's a transplant, not from Charlotte, I didn't have a head start. I don't have a huge network with all kinds of crazy ins and connections. Yeah. And to be able to work your way into that, there's something that's very validating about that. And it's also very inspiring to a lot of other agents, which I think is important too, because it feels like almost in a way by doing that, like giving back to the community, the real estate community.
Yeah. And they can see, like, those new agents that are also transplants can see, like, if Andy can do it, like, if I put in the work.
That's right.
I can get there and have that success too. So, I mean, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Hokie's doing big things as always. I have a fun icebreaker for you. And it's about homes and neighborhoods.
Okay.
It's a would you rather. So, would you rather live in a neighborhood where every home in the neighborhood decorates for every single holiday? And I mean Valentine's, Halloween, July 4th, like full on. And so you have to be a part of that basically. Mm-hmm. Or would you rather live in a neighborhood where nobody takes down their Christmas decorations year round?
Oof, that's tough. That's really tough. I'd almost say, I would say probably the every holiday one.
You would prefer that one?
Yeah, just because it's like there's something kind of fun in the summer when you see the 4th of July decorations, and there's something kind of weird about seeing nutcrackers outside in August or July, which there is a house on Colony Road that leaves nutcrackers out year round, and it is very, very weird. If you drive down Colony Road, you'll see it. It beats me, but they leave them out there, and it's weird. It's weird.
I saw that and I was like, I don't know. It's like we don't do a lot of extra. Like I've never, even growing up, we weren't a family that did a lot of external decorations, like some lights in the bush, but like there was no floating, no pumped up whatever. And so I was like, I was thinking of all the different holidays, like Valentine's Day, you got to go out and put hearts and flowers around, and Easter and St. Patrick's Day. I actually think I might stick with the Christmas decorations.
Then you're one and done.
Like, yeah, like there's no takedown and setup. It's just like, and then I feel like it's a theme. Like, we just live in a Christmas neighborhood, and I feel like I could get away with like that's easier to sell than like, great, we just went from Valentine's Day down St. Patrick's Day. Like,
Maybe your next house needs to be in McAdenville. Have you ever
no.
heard of that?
We went for the first time last year.
Christmas Town, USA.
Yeah, we
Maybe that's where you're gonna move next.
absolutely not. Our friend, one of my coworkers actually, she lives in that neighborhood, and so us and some of our friends, we were like, hey, we're gonna drive out there. So we like did dinner somewhere, and then like we're gonna drive out,
Mm-hmm.
and we're walking through, and the work that people put in for those homes out there.
That would be you.
If I was stuck,
If you were,
and so I asked
yeah.
her, I'm like, when you move to this neighborhood, does the HOA like mandate that you like decorate the house? She's like, no, there's no official rule, but it's very much like if you want to live here, you got to
gotta
be a
do it.
part of. So she's like at the very, very end of one of the cul-de-sacs. So they get away with like doing the least because like no one,
Huh.
like that last stretch, no one's house is really decorated. So she's like, we can just barely do it. Hers looks like a regular home we'd find in a house closer to the city.
Sure.
But some of those, I mean, blindingly bright.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? I don't know. Maybe I should ask someone from McAdenville. We should interview them to say, like, how did you guys turn into, and like everyone
Like, where'd
parks
this come from?
yeah, everyone parks at this food line.
Mm-hmm.
There's no sidewalk. And in my mind, if you've been doing this every year, at a certain point, the town invests in like proper sidewalks to keep people off the
Yeah.
street. No
Nothing.
sidewalks. You're walking. Here's cars going both directions, and everyone's just walking there. And I'm like, this is bizarre. Like, it doesn't feel like Charlotte at all. Like, nothing about that feels like Charlotte. But have you been?
A couple times. It's very cool. It's very unique. I think it's really cool that we have that here. So you're not just restricted to, or your only option isn't just like the raceway.
Yeah.
So
We also did this one. I think doesn't get enough hype. For the first time, we also did the Whitewater Center.
I've heard good
So
things.
I've always heard of the ice skating. And so we went and we're like, we'll do the ice skating. But all the trails, the walking trails, they put like lights and different things lit up throughout, like different drawbridges with like lights. And we walked that for like an hour. And it was like actually like a lot of fun. And I'm like, all right, now we know there are a few holiday things besides we did the raceway one year and I'll never go back.
Yeah, I've heard it's not fun.
I think
Not a
we-
fun experience.
Didn't we wait for like 3 hours to get in? And then I was like, no.
Yeah, not
It's
really worth it.
not worth it at all. Okay, so I'm living in Christmas Town. Andy's changing his holiday decorations every few months. In Charlotte, you talked about being a transplant. What are some things that you enjoy doing? Do you have any like secret hobbies or like when you're not working, how do you like to enjoy life?
I like to play golf.
Okay.
I like to just honestly hang out and explore with my wife. Like we like to go on long walks. We like to check out new restaurants. We like to check out the new coffee shops, like
Yeah.
things like that. We just enjoy doing that. And the thing that's really cool, I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy and cliche, but it's like it's easy to do here because there's so many new places opening every single week.
All the time.
And so it's fun to be able to explore. And then also it's like it's fun. And then for me with work, I can layer that in because when people do move here or visit, they ask, "Hey, where should we go?"
You got a list.
And I've got a list.
And I want one for you. You're gonna have to make sure you are off the clock and no one's calling you. New spot is opening this week, Antagonist. Same people who did Protagonist and Tipsy Pickle.
Yeah.
So Mike Salzarula, we had him on, and we got to check it out before it opened. And they take your phone and lock it in a bag, and
no.
in like the same bags they use for like comedy shows. And basically, you're just spending time in there. So you and your wife, it's like however long you're in there, undisturbed. They've got like conversation prompt cards. There's like they have these really cool book versions of like classic games. So there's like
I've
Yahtzee
seen that.
and Monopoly. Like yeah, you pull it out, it sits right there. Their snacks are super like random. Like it's not like they do good food at Tipsy Pickle. The food here is like almost like throwback childhood bites. And they have ice cream. And we went, and it's just a really cool. No one's taking pictures of everything, and you're just in there hanging out. So that's one you should check out.
You know what's funny is as someone who's like very obsessed with being on their phone all the time, 7 days a week, 24/7, What gives me more anxiety is either not being able to get to my phone, or sorry, having like being in meetings and not being able to use my phone if I'm in the middle of a meeting or
Yeah.
something. Like sometimes doing this stuff, if we're sitting and doing this in the middle of the day for
Yeah.
a couple hours, like I can start getting a little anxious because I just know things are piling up.
Right.
The other one is when I don't have cell service because I have my phone, I'm watching things slowly trickle in, but I can't send anything out. I can't respond. And all I'm thinking about is how to respond. But the one thing that I usually do pretty well at is if I do not have my phone or I can't have my
Yeah.
phone. So something like that actually would work pretty well because it's not even on you as like a crutch.
Yeah. It's just you can't even use it.
You can't even use it. You can't touch it. Like I went to the Masters. This was
Oh,
4
yeah.
years ago. One of the coolest experiences as a sports fan, and one of the scariest experiences as someone who lives and dies by their phone. And because you are not allowed to bring your phone in, and you leave it in the car for the whole day.
Which is just a wild concept. But there was a moment where I gained even more appreciation for that.
Yeah.
Watching Rory win last year. All these big sports moments, like LeBron James when he breaks the scoring record, that picture is everyone's phone
Yep.
up in the air taking the picture. When Rory wins, it is just people with their hands up, smiling, all cheering for him, not a single phone. And I'm like, this is beautiful. I was like, as a sports fan, that makes that moment even like it makes it even more amazing. I won't lie, if I saw LeBron James break the record, I'd also probably have my phone out.
Yeah.
But like, if I couldn't, I'd also probably remember that moment even more.
Exactly.
So I've heard that from the Masters. They said one guy took his phone in, and someone in a camera or security or somewhere spotted him, and someone just walked over to him and was like, "Sir, you need to come with us. You're out of here." And I'm like, why would you ruin the Masters opportunity just to have your phone?
It's not worth it. It's not worth ruining that.
Yeah. So but a good place to check out. What are some of y'all's favorites spots to hang out, eat, drink? What are some of your top ones?
Well, we live close to Char Bar in the
Okay.
Carmel South Park area, and so we do like walking there. That's
Okay.
an easy one if you're down there. I mean, it's not something you're necessarily going out of your way for, but if you live close enough and you can walk there,
Neighborhood
it's great.
spot.
Yeah. We also really like going to Oshen or Oku for sushi.
Okay.
Both of those are heavy in the rotation for us. Steak 48 is kind of an easy one, but we do
We still
love
need to go.
going there.
We like. I've kind of been skeptical of some of the like traditional steakhouses.
It's good. It's
Steak
good.
48's the one that I do hear all the time that is consistently like people are like, you pay for it, but it's worth it.
It is, and the thing that's different about it is it's not just the steak and the ambiance and everything, it's also the service. And one thing that's really cool that they do that I really like, especially as someone, again, who's got people coming into
Yeah.
town all the time, their whole thing is like if you're there a little bit, like they start to recognize you, they pick up on who you are, and then you get your waiter's phone number. And when you get someone's cell phone number who works there, that's kind of your in. And so they make it harder to get reservations. But like I had a huge client of mine that was in town last year. Whole family was in town. They were trying to find a place to go to dinner on a Friday night at like 7:30 for
Oh, my
10
goodness.
people. And
10 people.
yeah, and I had coffee with one of his daughters, who's a great client of mine that week, and she was telling me how they were all going to be in town. They're all trying to go to this big dinner, and they don't know where to go. And I'm like, I got you. And I texted the guy that I worked with a lot at Steak 48, and he set it up, and it was amazing. It makes me look good. They have a great dinner. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it really is one of the top steakhouses in town. But like that little additional piece of the experience makes it so worthwhile. It's like there's a book about that. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yes, yeah.
It's all about just going like one step beyond,
Yeah.
and it makes things so and like that's exactly what that is.
So Mike with the antagonist that I was just talking about, he talked about that book on the podcast too and loves it.
there you go.
And like so much of what they do at Tipsy Pickle, you can ice somebody. Like when was the last time you got iced? But like
Probably
they
college.
have a whole bunch of Smirnoffs that you can pay and like for a friend, and like they'll put it, I forget what their exact setup is, but your friend unknowingly will walk into an ice and like everyone gets a laugh at like all the little things that they do to go above and beyond. And so when he was like, I want people to be able to connect, like we don't do enough connection, so we're gonna do
Yeah.
antagonists too. So like that mindset of going the extra step. My
It's very
spot
cool.
wasn't Steak 48 anywhere close. Rest in peace to the Eagle in South End.
That was good.
We went opening weekend. It was right beside our apartment, so we went all the time. And it got to the point where the general manager knew me. And it wasn't like it was us and another couple. It always was big groups. So we've had a whole pool day with our friends. It's 10 of us. We're like, all right, none of us are cooking dinner. Where do we want to go? And they'd be like, Shay, call the Eagle. And so I would call. I'm like, hey, Siobhan. She's like, you got a big group for me? I was like, yeah. She's like, what time? And no matter what time I told her, if I gave her like 30 minutes heads up, she was like, yeah, I will get you. And then it was there. I hadn't talked to her in a while. I called and the guy was like, yeah, we're definitely not going to be able to fit you in. I was like, is Siobhan there? He was like, yeah. I was like, let me talk to Siobhan. And so Siobhan goes, hey, she goes, how many? I was like, 12. She's like, I'll see you soon. Thanks. And I was like, I
Wow.
felt like I had made it. And I was like, this is the only place I can do this in Charlotte. And she's like, yeah, I had to tell him. She's like, he's new. But she's like, whenever you call, you bring big parties, you order a lot of food and drinks, and we love having you guys here. And I'm like,
It makes the whole experience. It
yeah.
really does. I'll tell you, one of my other favorite things to do would be going from Flower Shop for dinner, which is in the back lots of
Yeah.
Park Road
Oh,
Shopping
big
Center.
friends with Steven and Steven DeFalco. He at Flower Shop and Pizza Baby.
Yep.
That's our guy.
That place is amazing. So I love going there for dinner and then ...
Oh
for
yeah.
drinks afterwards because it's right in the same parking lot. ... Stefan is amazing. Like you can't go in there and not talk to that guy.
We have to go
and learn
back.
something.
We have
He
to
is
go
the man.
back.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We went once because they have like kind of a membership thing
Yeah.
a little bit. So our friends invited us to go, but we were at Flower Shop recently and like that their whole Pizza Baby West is also going to be adding some of that pasta from Flower Shop to their menu, so you can get pizza and pasta.
That's cool.
Just so you know. Okay. Do you have any secret talents? That's like a question I started asking because I've learned some things about people. Is there anything you're secretly good at? Are you like a scratch golfer?
Far from that. Far from that. Man, I don't know. I grew up playing saxophone a lot, so like
Oh, okay.
maybe that's it. Like I was in a lot of different bands growing up.
When was the last time you played?
High school, so it's been over
Do you
20
still
years.
have it?
It's at my dad's house.
You
So
should pick it up and see.
yeah, my wife wants me to, and I refuse to. But
Why?
it's been too long, but I loved it. I was in jazz bands and marching bands and all the different bands. I was the band kid, so but I loved it. And I was very good at it.
So if you loved it as much as you say you did, why would you not pick it up again?
I mean, there's no logical reason.
What is your wife's name?
Susie?
Susie. We're gonna get him back on the sax. Like I want this to happen for you, and then let me know. I want to hear it as well. My wife is the same way. She grew up playing the flute. She has the flute here, and she just won't play it. And we've been together almost 11 years. I think she's played the flute once, and I'm like, why will you not play it? I don't know. I don't want to play it. You have it. If you love it, do it. So you too. I'm gonna check in with you in a couple months. I hope you grab
We'll
that
see.
sax and pick it. Like, why not? What's the worst that's gonna happen?
Yeah, I love jazz. I love live music, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Do you
yeah.
spend a lot? Do you go to a lot of jazz concerts in Charlotte?
No, I don't, but I enjoy it whenever I do go to any. And like sometimes when we travel,
Yeah.
we'll find places. Like the last one we went to, we were at Baha Mar in the Bahamas. And
Okay.
there's a little jazz club in the casino there, and
Oh,
it's just
cool.
we went there every night. And it's just cool to sit there. You have a drink, you listen to some good live music,
Yeah.
and it's just there's something nice about that.
There's some places around here. I'm not heavy into jazz. One of my buddies is, and he'll tell me. But my wife I think it was early part of last year, did plan a date night for us to go to Middle C. And it was like the first time I'd ever been. And it was like it was really cool. Like I like that there is energy in the music and the vibe, but it's not like
In your face.
yeah, exactly. So it's like you could still talk a little bit and like enjoy your night together. So I thought it was like as I mature and get older, I'm like I feel like I need to get more into jazz.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very relaxing. It's very soothing. Like I'll tell you what. So this is like a quick side note or tangent.
Please, go ahead.
One of my favorite restaurants in the world. It's called Cafe Hubert. It's in Sydney, Australia. It was the last night of my honeymoon a couple years ago,
Okay.
and we had been kind of looking at all the different restaurants in Sydney. We were there for a few days at the end of the trip, and we're trying to figure out which restaurants, what cocktail lounges, what Sydney. If you've never been, it's like speakeasies everywhere,
Really?
everywhere, and down the sketchiest alleyways, and it's like some of the top speakeasies in the world. And
Huh.
we went to this restaurant, Cafe Hubert, and they have two, maybe three different dinner services, and it's like 3 stories underground. Like the amount of steps that you go down to get to this restaurant is scary. And then you get down there, and it's like 20-foot ceilings, and you walked into what feels like a jazz club from like 100 years ago. And it's a French restaurant, and they've got all these different places you sit, and there's a stage, and they will seat everyone at the same time or within 20, 30
Yeah.
minutes, and then you have about an hour of dinner service, and then a band comes out and plays, and then they play for about an hour, and then they basically give you the bill and kick you
Yeah.
out for the next set. And it was one of the coolest dinners we had ever. It's my favorite restaurant in the world because it was just French food that was phenomenal. The service was amazing, and then you sit there and like you finish your dinner, and then a band comes out, and it's not the same kind of thing. Like it's not in your face
Yeah.
or anything, and it was just such a cool experience.
Okay. My wife has been saying Australia, New Zealand's on her list. So
Gotta go.
now we have our first rec for when we go out there.
Yeah.
Cafe Hubert.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. In Charlotte, I feel like you have a really different lens of seeing the city because you're driving around it more than your average person here.
Hmm.
You probably know a lot more just so you can assist your clients and point them in different directions. What do you think is something, or maybe it's more than one thing, some things that make the city really special?
There's a few things, and I talk to people about this a lot when they're asking like why Charlotte,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of it's the why Charlotte question. The first is we are a transient city. We're a very up and coming city. We have a lot of people moving here every single day.
Yep.
And what that does is it boils down, like it creates this culture of people who are not from here. So what it, because we have all these people who are not from here, it creates this culture that everyone's like excited to be here.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy to be here. Everyone's open to meeting new people because they were new at some point.
Yep.
It's not just like, oh, well, I mean, I went to grade school here, college here. I never left. Like, some of the bigger cities, you could easily go to school there, go to college there, and never leave. And
New
then
York,
you're Chicago, Philly, Baltimore, any of these big DC, any of these big cities. And so we're on that level, but in a totally different way.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. And it is really cool because we have such a melting pot of people here from all different places, like all over the country.
Yep.
And then I think we have, to me, the other big thing is proximity to everything in the world, right? We have an international airport. You can get anywhere you want to get very easily.
Yep.
And so having the airport is a huge one. And then being 2 hours to the mountains, 3 hours to a lot of different beaches is also very nice. So sure, we're landlocked, but you're not stuck.
Yeah.
Right. You could even one of the agents on my team did a day trip to Wilmington this week, drove out there, had some meetings, and then drove right back. And it's like, you can do that.
Yeah.
And it's very special. It's very nice to have. Then I think also coming back to Charlotte, it's like, it's a very green city. So even in the middle of the winter, you're driving around, it's very green. There's trees, there's grass. Like, it sounds stupid to say, but like when you drive here, you get it. Like you understand, like it's a very green and clean city. So
I emphasize that a lot to people. It's like it is a very, very clean city.
Mhm.
Like I don't know a city our size anywhere in the country that I would say is as clean as ours is. And to me, that's a perk. Like as an adult, worried about taxes or costs of cleaning, like all these different things. Like I feel pretty good that our city is pretty clean. Like that's a plus for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously, depending on where you are in life, it's like it's nice having a lot of big colleges in state.
Yeah.
That's important to a lot of people. The schools are like they're great, and you obviously could do North Carolina or South Carolina, which then taxes come into play, insurance comes into play, the school systems come into play. Like there's so many good things about living here, and also, I mean, dude, it's March 1st and it's 80 degrees. Like that doesn't
Actually,
suck.
yeah. We were traveling recently, and somebody was asking us about Charlotte. And they're like, "Didn't you guys just get a lot of snow?" And I'm like, "Yes, but that was an anomaly. Like we don't." In 6 years we've been here, I was like, we've never got a foot of snow. I was like, so if I get that once every 6 years,
That's
I'm
fine.
good. And they're like, how far are you from the beach? Like, you don't want to live closer? I'm like, I'm terrified of hurricanes. Don't want to be anywhere near the beach. And we are far enough from the mountains that we're not getting the snow and really bad cold that they will get. It's like, this is perfect. I can get to whatever I want, beach, mountains,
Yep.
quick enough without the headache of it or the concern of what comes with living in those places. Like, what else? And our city's affordable for
Yes.
for the most part compared to a lot of
Depending where
other.
you come from,
Right.
yes.
If you're coming from middle of nowhere, Georgia, no. But if
Right.
you're coming from any other major city, Charlotte is the one that my friends, when they travel in, get the most surprised about. Our Uber and Lyft situation here is cheap.
Hmm.
Like compared to, and we always notice when we travel places and we'll have to call an Uber
It's
for the same
expensive.
for the same distance. We're like, oh my goodness. There's
Mhm.
some days we're going to. There's a wine and beer festival we love, and we'll Uber there. It's 2 o'clock on a Saturday. Everyone's out. Good weather. You're expecting
Oh
Ubers
yeah.
to be. Most of the time, our Uber to that festival is like $6, $7.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that is a cost thing that a lot of people do not pay attention to. That I'm like, yeah, Charlotte's got really affordable.
Hmm.
It's really affordable for us to get around.
Yeah, and what it all this boils down to answer your question is quality of life. The quality of life here is phenomenal because you have the weather, you have the people, you have good jobs, you have a strong economy, you have good like decent sports. I mean, the Hornets are very exciting right now. The Panthers, for as much of a joke as they were, they did make it into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Our MLS team made it into the playoffs. Like there's a lot going on here. And look, if you're into disc golf, Charlotte is the number one disc golf capital in the country. Yeah,
Huh?
it's like they have the best disc golf courses in the country here. I have friends that are like big into disc golf that I don't do it. I like regular golf and I suck at that, so I'll stick to
Stick to
that.
being bad at one thing. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
So, but I know people who will travel in just to go play disc golf
Wait,
here.
Charlotte?
Yep. Yep.
This is literally the first time I've heard anything about
Oh yeah. Huge.
number one.
Hmm.
Where are these courses?
They're sprinkled all throughout. I mean, you may end up 30, 40, 60 minutes from town, but they're all over and there's some very like well-known courses here that people travel in to play.
So you mean to tell me we've got like Augusta National here in Charlotte for disc golf?
Maybe I don't know about Augusta National, maybe like the Pinehurst.
Pinehurst
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Wait, now
Yep.
I want to ask some friend. There's a one guy in one of our friend groups. He will go out to his family's house sometimes during the summer, and at Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia, and he
Oh yeah.
has like four of the things set up on his parents' property. So he's like, start here, you go this direction. That's one, two. So he's made it kind of like a 9-hole course that we'll play. That's the only time I've actually ever done disc golf is out there with him. But now I want to ask him, like, hey, do you play here? Like, do you also know that we've got the Pinehurst of disc golf courses?
I bet he will validate that. And if he doesn't, don't fact check me.
Don't okay, you're here in Charlotte, or someone's visiting. What are the physical landmarks or places to go that you feel like people that is quintessential Charlotte? Like that is really a lot of people say the Whitewater Center because
That was one.
that's a fun thing to do. That's an activity. But apart from that, do you feel like we have those landmarks that a lot of other cities have? And again, we're growing and newer, and I'm always curious, like, what would be the thing that I'm like, go here for?
That's a tough one because it also depends on who's coming into
Yeah.
town, right? Like I had a family in town this weekend and showed them like 30 houses, right? They have 2 kids and they brought 2 of their kids and they brought their parents as well. So it was 6 of them and they're looking in like the Matthews and Mint Hill area. So
Okay.
what did I do? I sent them to downtown like Mint Hill, downtown Matthews.
Yeah.
Mint Hill, there's not as much in the downtown area, but Matthews,
Yeah.
right? So I made sure that they went to Brakeman's Coffee and went to Seaboard, the wine
Yeah.
bar there, right? And then they were like, we want sushi. Where should we go? I sent them to Ocean. So it's like, it's hard to just say that there's like one or two things that someone needs to see. But the other thing that I would say, like Whitewater Center is definitely a big one. I'd tell people just hit the rail trail. Like go park at Atherton and
Let's get to walking.
get walking. Yep. Go grab a cup of coffee at Not Just Coffee at Atherton and just start walking. And
Yep.
if you want to pop into one of the breweries, do it. You want to pop into a wine bar or something right around there, you can do that too.
Yeah.
But like, I think the rail trail is super cool because then you see how young and vibrant the city really is.
Yeah, that is actually what sold. That was part of the experience that sold me on Charlotte. So I tell a lot of stories. I don't know if I've said this explicitly. Chris was a buddy of mine from Virginia Tech. I was in grad school at Chapel Hill. Called him like, "Hey, I have tickets for a concert. Can I come stay on your couch? I'll take you to concert. You don't have to buy the ticket." He was like, "Sure." He's like, "Meet me at this is 20. This is spring of 2019, like March of 2019.
Okay.
He's like, meet me at Leroy Fox in South End." And I'm like, all right, cool. So I park, and before he even gets there, I'm looking around. I'm like, there are people everywhere. I'm like, what is this?
Yep.
We have lunch. And then he's like, all right, this is when Lime scooters were still cheaper. And he was like, all right, we're going to get on the scooter. And we're just going to, he's like, I'm going to show you around. And he takes me all throughout South End. And then we get on the rail trail. And then we walk to a brewery. And I had so much fun and had never experienced anything like that. I'm like, there are young people like me everywhere. I called my wife and I was like, we weren't married at the time. I'm like, hey, so on the list of places, Charlotte is now number one. I was like, this was the most fun I've had in a city ever. And she was like, okay. And then she like almost blindly followed me here, which was like the first big test of our marriage. I'm like, I hope this works, because if she hates this, she's here for me. 6 months in, we're both like, we love the city,
Yeah.
because we lived right on the rail trail. So like we would get out on Saturdays. It's COVID, you can't do much, but you can walk the rail trail and just the energy and like everything that people are experiencing, and the dogs and biking and families and older people. Like it just, we would sometimes get on the rail trail, have no idea where we're going, and before we knew it was 3 hours later.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easily.
And it's perfect. Okay, real estate. We met for coffee and talked a little bit about this. You didn't always want to get into real estate. What was your journey to get there?
So I always wanted to kind of get into the business world and thought about like doing some sort of business development. That
Okay.
was always intriguing to me. I like talking to people. I like being around people. I like helping people.
Yeah.
And I studied finance at Tech.
Okay.
And I was getting ready to graduate and didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a couple internships that I wasn't a huge fan of doing. And so I was starting to lean away from finance, but didn't know what I was like kind of leaning in towards. And at the time I was president of my fraternity at Tech, and the Nationals organization came into town and basically offered me a job. And I said, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to do. I like talking to people. This is a job where I'm literally just going to get paid to travel to different colleges for a year. Like, why not? And I can network. I can meet people. I can meet alumni. I can meet students. Like, who knows what'll come of this? And like, it's kind of a great job for someone who's finishing college and doesn't know what they want to do.
And you're still young enough to be able to enjoy part of that
Yeah.
lifestyle too.
Yeah. It'd be like, I mean, I was 22 years old, and you're given a credit card and keys to a rental car, and they say, we'll see you at the end of the semester. And you're on the road 7 days a week. And my salary the first year, pre-tax salary, was $18,000. And
Were they at least covering your hotel and like food?
I didn't have to pay for anything.
Oh, okay.
So basically the only thing I had to pay for was alcohol and like clothes and random stuff. But think about this, like I was always the visitor. I was always the guest at every college I went to. You think any of those kids let me pay for any drinks of my own, or I was buying them drinks or paying for anything? Like, absolutely not. Because I was the Nationals guy, right?
Yeah.
And
so they want to impress you.
they're trying to impress you, but they're also like feeling you out.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're like, are you here to get me in trouble? Or are you just
Are you
like,
here to shut us down?
Yeah, like, are you going to shut us down, or are we getting, like, what's going to happen here? And it's like, I was building relationships with all these different chapters.
Yeah.
And so then when something happened, they would trust me and they would feel comfortable to call me to help them.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the year and a half that I did that job, I made some of the best friends that I've had for life. And I went to over 60 college campuses in less than 2 years. It was a really cool job. And so it also is very taxing.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
We were 22, 23 years old. Next thing you know, you're like sitting on a couch in a frat house talking to some 18-year-old kid who's having his first beer. And you're like, it's time for me to stop doing this. Right.
I feel like my old man at 24.
Yes,
like
at 23. Yeah, 23 years old. You're like, I'm the old guy. This is not good. And you're sleeping on couches, and you're just kind of like, you're a nomad. and it's the most fun job that I never want to have again, because it really was such a cool job, cool opportunity. Got to see so many cool things.
Yeah.
Like I went to tons of insane football games, basketball games. Like I was in the SEC a lot. I was in the Big Ten a lot too.
Oh, that's fun.
So everywhere you're going, you're just trying to figure out like, all right, is there a sporting event? Is there something I can go to? How can I craft my schedule around like fun stuff and important stuff?
Yeah.
And so, like we went to go reprimand the Tulane chapter one time, and conveniently happened to go the weekend of Mardi Gras. So
Ah.
why not, right? And but then from there, I moved to Charlotte and got into commercial real estate. So
Okay.
I figured, all right, if I can combine, I always was intrigued by real estate
Yeah.
because my grandfather was an attorney and a real estate agent back when you could kind of do that.
Yeah.
Now it's like if you want to be good, like you've got to be all in. You can't do it part time. And so I was always intrigued by that, especially the aspect of just talking to people
Yeah.
and working with people. And then I figured with commercial real estate, you're using more of the finance, or I was using more of the finance background that I had,
Sure.
and then bigger paychecks,
Yeah.
right? And so
And no more $18,000
Right.
salary.
Right. And so I moved here, got into commercial brokerage, and I, funny enough, wanted to do that because I thought I didn't have to get my real estate license for that. And when I moved here, found out that I did, because I did not want to have to go through school and licensing and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And this company that hired me, it is a meat grinder there. It is a beast working there, because they basically are like, your job is to get listings and nothing else. Like no tenant rep, no landlord rep, no leasing, no nothing, like no working with buyers. Like you get listings and that's it. And that's the hardest thing to do, especially in commercial real estate. And I moved here, was living in a studio in Uptown, and one friend from Virginia Tech knew I even lived here. And I was working 5 days a week, and then I was going to class on the weekends.
Ooh.
And I did that for the first few months. And then, and this was the world that I lived in. So it was suit and tie every day. And my mentor, the weekend I went to go take my real estate licensing exam, he said on that Friday, he was like, good luck this weekend. And if you don't pass, don't bother coming in on Monday, because if you can't pass the first time, you're not smart enough to do this job. Like that was literally the world that I lived in when I first moved
What
here.
on earth?
And it like fueled me. It motivated me, because I'm like, all right, well, if this is what it takes, then let's go. And passed and kept going for about 8 or 9 months. Completely ran out of money because it's a 100% commission job, and came to realize that like I wasn't as strong in commercial real estate finance as I was just in finance in general, just
Okay.
from school. And so what I did was I pivoted into a job in commercial real estate finance. So
Okay.
did that for a couple years and just wasn't a huge fan of it. One of my best friends still works there, and he jokes and says that my job when I worked there was just to make him look good, because I was so bad at it. And during that time, I met a couple residential real estate agents, and everyone's seen all the TV shows and the movies, and they know how realtors are depicted and presented
Yeah.
online, and it's not good. And so I always looked down on residential real estate agents, especially like, I mean, the world that I lived in commercial was so cutthroat that it was like these realtors over here, like this.
They don't take it seriously.
Nah, right.
Yeah.
And but I met some agents that treated real estate like a true business. They had leverage, they had operation staff, they had things in place so that they could do what they're best at, which is talking to people and
Yeah.
being in front of people. And I really respected that, and I was kind of intrigued by that, because I'd never seen that kind of piece of that industry before.
Yeah.
You just see all the TV shows and they look like idiots. And so the houses are sweet though.
Yeah. Always. Always.
But I decided to take the leap in March of 2017 and got into residential real estate. Actually, like a week from now, 9 years ago,
Wow.
started in residential real estate. And I was
Now
on
he's top 10.
yeah.
Top 10 in the city.
Yep. So it was a long process, but I was really intrigued by the idea of just like genuinely being able to help people.
Yeah.
And when you can come from contribution and try and help people on a daily basis, it's amazing how much that can it can change your life.
Yeah. How would you, all of that, clearly a people person, right? How would you describe yourself as a realtor?
I am the guy that, oh man, I had a friend asked me this the other day, and I went, I asked all my clients like to describe working with us
Yeah.
and all those kinds of things, and like then I dropped it in ChatGPT and was like, give me a couple like little one-liners, and transparently, I should have looked at that before sitting down here because I would have been able to tell you right away. But basically, like I want people to feel like they're shopping with a friend on the buy side, and on the sell side, I want them to feel confident that I'm going to be very realistic with you, and I'm going to work as hard as I can for every single client of mine. And if that means that I'm going to do all this research and then tell you, hey, by the way, it's probably better that you just rent this place, like I will do that. I will say that, or I'll tell a buyer not to buy something because of XYZ reasons. And
Yeah.
so working with me, it's like you feel like you're working with a friend who's there to protect you. And
Yeah.
that's important, especially when you're working with a salesperson with the biggest purchase of your life.
Yeah. I mean, for most, your average human, there's no bigger purchase than a home.
Right.
And so you want to make sure you do it right. And it can be stressful. And
Yeah.
so having somebody that you can count on, that you're comfortable with, that you're like, all right, this person's going to look out, that makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And we've only bought one home, and our realtor was like, we joked that we made our life super easy because we knew exactly what we wanted. But at the end, when we needed a little bit of help, like we were able to pick up the phone and call and be like, hey, what's going on here? What do you think? And so I think that's a really good,
Yeah.
and clearly that comes off. I mean, the conversations we've had are just like how much you enjoy people, and just that connection piece is gonna. I think in stressful situations, if someone's able to connect with you and make you feel more comfortable, that can take a lot of that stress out of it.
Yeah, and we're high communicators, and so myself and my whole team, like we're big on responding quickly, because sometimes people will have questions or concerns or thoughts about things, and if you don't address it quick enough, it will start to fester and it will start to brew and into something bigger,
Yeah,
or they start spiraling. And so we try and nip that right in the bud, and that way we can let them know, like, is this a serious concern that you
yeah,
might have or not? And if it is a serious concern, then yeah, we want to address it
right,
immediately. But sometimes it's not, and it's like we just need to let them know, like, no, this is a very normal, like
yeah.
this is
It's
very
okay.
normal, right? So there is a level of like just being present all the time for our clients,
Yeah,
and we take a lot of pride in that, and I think that shows in the results too.
yeah, absolutely. There's also something that there certain topics during this podcast, like there are tons of restaurants in Charlotte, so like it's easy to interview different restaurants. All have their different flavor, but real estate and other ones are like right now where we are. I don't feel like I need multiple people in
Right.
certain categories. So when it came to real estate, like one of the things that I'm like, I want someone when they come on to talk about Charlotte and real estate, like I want them to stand out. And something to me that I feel like you have dedicated a lot of time and energy into is social media. And not in the cheesiest way, because you were talking about the optics of real estate agents. Sometimes it's like super cheesy. And I'm like, all right,
It's
guys.
painful. It's
I was like,
painful.
all right, guys, come on. But like yours is like sometimes educational. I think when we got coffee, you had posted something recently that I thought was interesting of this development had happened, and you had been following them, building connections with them before they even broke ground on the first house.
Hmm.
And so you knew what was coming. You didn't have a hand in what happened, but you were there from the very beginning and saw it through. But you explained that on social media. And for me, like if I'm looking for a realtor, like this person is clearly doing the legwork, and that helps you to stand out. So was there a moment? I don't know if you were an early adopter or you just jumped in and then did it really well right away. Like, what made you realize that social media is something that you could leverage to help stand out?
I in 2018 was featured as a rising star in a real estate publication in
Okay.
Charlotte. And my whole thought process was, how can I get as many people as possible to see this, right? Without just going to my friends, my
Yeah.
few friends I had at the time. And so I figured, okay, well, and then like that was part of it. The other part was, where are my ideal clients right now? They're at the banks, sitting, scrolling Instagram in between meetings while they're writing emails. And so I need to get in front of those people, and I want them to then see that I got this Rising Star
Right.
award, because then it builds credibility.
Right.
And so I'm a big believer that social media is good for exposure. And when you have more exposure, it gives you more credibility. And when you have more credibility, it gives you more opportunities for exposure. And it's like this big circle.
Yeah.
And so I took to social media so that I could try and get in front of as many people as possible when I got that award and was in this magazine. And I've been very consistent with it ever since. And I'm a big believer in showcasing who you are as a human versus just like a real estate agent or
Yeah.
just a business or any of those kinds of things. And so that's why, like, if you're following me, like, I'm always posting stories, always doing things. And it's like cool behind the scenes stuff, funny things that I see on, you see some weird stuff in houses when you're showing a lot of houses. You see some really weird stuff. And that is the most, like, that is the highest engagement that I get. When I post something that's really weird on a story where I'm like, you can't, things you can't even try to imagine. It's just like the engagement goes through the roof. And then, um, and then it's like, I try to also just post stuff about me and about the houses that I'm selling and about like all these things to build credibility and build rapport.
Yeah.
And so, I'm into watches, I'm into bourbon, I like golfing. I try not to post too much about golf because it's funny because people will assume that I'm just not working if I'm playing golf. So I
God
don't
forbid
post.
the realtor have a personal life and
Right.
like go do something
Right.
for himself.
Right. It's like if I post that I'm playing golf on a Tuesday, well, I mean, people will say that I'm not working, and then what they don't see is me answering 100 text messages, taking 15 phone calls, and having my AirPods in while I'm trying to hit the ball. But other than that, it's like I like to post about the bourbon that I collect, and there's so many ways that I can build rapport with people who are watching what I'm doing, and then I'm sprinkling in all the listings we're going or listing appointments we have, and all the listings that we're showcasing, and all the stuff that we're selling, and all the homes that we're showing and helping people buy. It's
Yeah.
like it's building credibility, but I don't want to shove it in your face.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're doing cool professional videos and professional photos and all kinds of stuff and brand. It's like there's so much around like personal brand.
Yours is really thoughtful. That's the thing that I think is different. I think a lot of people, when I've seen it on um, real estate on social media, like it feels like just kind of throwing darts
Yeah.
at a board. Yours feels very, I don't know if package is wrong to say, but it feels like very well put together.
Yeah.
That this is not like, oh, we're just going to randomly do this. It's like, no, these are the things that are going to help, like you said, stand out. And for me, when I see that, I'm like, yeah, no, these things catch my eye. Now I'm intrigued. I know a little bit about him as a person. I know a little bit about his business, where his passions are, even how you show homes. Like a lot of people just like will take pictures or like a quick walkthrough video. But even in some of yours, there was one I saw a while ago. It's like you're talking about how the light would come into the house at a certain angle. That's the type of stuff my wife would eat up because she's always, I tell her she's like a cat sometimes. She's always looking for like the one part in the house where the sun comes in, like after work when it's summer. I know I can find her in her little sliver of the sun. So
Yep.
your video of you say like the sun comes into this room, whatever, my wife would be like, yeah, I like that. So like, I think you do a really good job of like putting the whole thing together. And clearly that has helped you get to where you are now.
Yeah, and I also think like if I present myself as someone who's put together with everything I'm doing personally and professionally, then it's going to make a potential client feel more comfortable to come to me, to
Yeah.
call me, right? And I mean, look, there's a lot of competition. Like it's hard to stand out.
Yeah.
There's over 18,000 real estate agents in Charlotte. That's how much competition I have. Over 18,000 people, 18,000 competitors. Like that is a lot.
That
So
is
how do
so
you
much.
stand out? And like you have to just be authentic. Like obviously I have to present myself in a certain way, but that's why like some days I'll wear a t-shirt, some days I'll wear a pinstripe suit and everything in between.
Yeah.
And that's because that's just who I am.
Yeah, it's real. And I think that's authenticity sells. Like I think that's one of the biggest things I've been learning in the last couple of years. You did hit on something. A friend of mine is he's from home. He's in real estate, and sometimes he posts some really crazy stuff. What are some of you kind of just started to hit on this? What are some of the craziest things you have seen in homes or stories? Because yes, we see you're not gonna blast the crazy things, but I am personally curious, like a feature in a home that you've seen, you're like, who did this? Why?
The amount of times that I've asked or I've said like to be a fly on the wall when a decision was made, like the amount of money I would pay to be able to like watch
Just be
someone
there.
go, this is a great idea. It's insane. But like the most recent one is I've got a client. We're getting ready to list her house, not too far from here actually, and in her loft she has a shoe rack with like all like there's probably 40 pairs of shoes, like huge sneakerhead, like really cool Nikes that's and Jordans and all kinds of stuff that she's
Okay.
got. And I posted a picture of it on my story, and I was like, "We're prepping this house to sell. Should we take this down?" And I've never gotten so many DMs. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, that guy's collection is insane." And then I usually respond, I'm like, "It's a
It's a
girl's."
woman.
Like, and she, so like because of that, we are going to leave it up. It will be in the pictures, and it's like we'll see what happens. But it's cool to be able to engage with people that way. I mean, that was just like the most recent thing. But like the amount of times that like I have gone up into an attic or into a basement or like opened a door and been very thankful that I don't watch scary movies. You would have no idea. You see some of the weirdest stuff in people's houses that sometimes is so creepy. And so I'm I'm not a scary movie guy, and people can make fun of me all they want. I'm such a wimp with it.
I just don't believe I need to be scared for entertainment.
I don't find any value in getting scared, right? I mean, literally, like last night, I was working, I was on my laptop, we're on the couch, my wife turned a movie on, and I noticed it was kind of starting to get a little weird and creepy, and I'm like, I'm just going to keep my head down and work. And she's like 10, 15 minutes into this movie and was like, "Are you even watching?" And I'm like, "No, it's kind of scary. Like, this is weird." And
You
she's
don't
like,
need that thrill. Like,
yeah.
no.
She's like, "Are you going to watch?" I go, "Absolutely not." And she's like, "Well, then let's change it to something you'll watch." But you see, like, there's so many. I'm trying to think of another like really funny thing or like weird thing that's been in the house.
While you
But
think about it, I'll tell you, Frank had one. He walked in and there was a cabinet, like there was a drawer underneath like the cabinet. And so like you had to bend all the way down and pull out this drawer, but the drawer was like this big. And he was like, "What are you storing here?" Like you have to bend literally
home
almost on
defense.
the ground, like on the ground and pull this out. You said home defense?
Uh huh.
Huh. You see a lot of weird home defense contraptions
Oh
around,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
especially in the South. That makes
Oh
sense.
yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
That a little drawer that's hidden like that. Home defense.
Home defense.
Big time.
Okay.
But like yesterday, I showed a house. It was like a 1970s home, and it had like it had a garage, and everything from the outside looked very normal. And then we go inside, and like behind the kitchen was what looked like a room that was a garage that got closed in, and like there. We're walking around this house, and my client and I are all like, we're all just kind of like, what
what was
what
here?
is this? What was here? What was this for? Like it felt like a second like living room, but it had like a door, and then it had this like half wall down like halfway down the room, and then there was another like room next to it, all off like the kitchen. When there's a whole normal like living room, dining room, family room, kitchen, and then there's just this door that would have gone to like a garage, but there was a garage. Like it was so bizarre where you're like you're walking around, you're like, I literally can't wrap my head around what this was. Like, what is this? And you ask the agent. The agent's like, I don't know.
Because it's probably not their. They're probably not selling it from the person who built or designed the house
Right.
that way, and they just like
Someone bought it that way too.
our weird one that we saw was when we were looking. We were looking at townhomes, and we walked into one, and just from the first floor, it had like maybe a room, a garage, a hallway, and like a half bath. All three of those different rooms was painted a different color. And I'm not saying like together, bright pink, bright green, and then like bright orange.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Oh,
the
yeah.
like the main floor was fine. And then you got upstairs to the bedroom floor, and it's like a really weird brown, a really like another pink, another blue, and like none of these colors. I'm like, "Ma'am, did you just pick your favorite colors and just go splash the whole
Yep.
like what? Why?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll give you a credit to paint the house." I'm like, that amount of money is not enough to redo this mess that she has done. I'm like, no. I was like, I don't know who's gonna buy this home. It will not be us. We will have no parts of this. It was. I'm like, what are people thinking sometimes? But my thought process is when I see those things, I'm like, whoever designed this, is a person that lives among us, and they also make other decisions.
And they can vote.
And I'm like, who are these people? And so now when something happens, and I'll be like, that's probably one of those people.
Yep.
Probably one of these people. You're like, you paint your house different colors, don't you? I can
Yeah.
see it. I can
You may
see
not
it.
color your hair, but you're gonna paint your walls.
You're gonna paint
That's
your
for
walls
sure.
random colors.
I'll tell you what, the other thing too that's wild is some of these like investors that we work with and some of the houses that they look at. And like, if it's getting like condemned by the city or something like that, there have been showings that I've gone on that smell so bad in the summer that you have to drive immediately home, windows down, strip down, and like you might as well throw the clothes away because that's how bad everything smelled. Like it does put things in perspective when you think like, oh, it's so messy. Oh, this is dirty. It's like you don't know dirty.
Yeah,
You don't know messy.
whatever you're thinking. My
Yeah.
dad did home health. He still does home health physical therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and I really want him to write books. Like he could fill books with the stories.
Oh yeah.
Like you're talking about a home protection. He's had some where he has to tell his patients like, can we just move that while we are while we're doing our physical therapy? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm not here to hurt you. Like, you don't need to be that close to it. But some of the places, like, he would go to people's homes, and we knew it was bad, and we'd get a call. He's like, hey, can you go grab me this? I'm on my way home. And he would change in the garage and leave his clothes in the garage for like a week before he would
Yeah.
even bring them in, just because of the stench. And he's like, I have to plan my days around going to these homes because if I have other patients to go see, I can't take the smell
Yep.
of that with me. And if he couldn't make it work, he's like, I got to find a place to change because I can't go until the next. So I can only imagine the homes that you're going into sometimes and
Oh yeah.
what they bless you. I would not be me. You hit on something just now though that I wanted to ask about investors. There is a lot, especially in our city, and it's not just here, but it's around the country. These big capital investment firms and buying up real estate. But in Charlotte, I remember early on, there was a lot of complaint that there's not enough homes. Well, then townhomes especially started getting built, but then the developers weren't even selling them. They were like renting,
Yeah.
leasing them
Build to
out.
rent.
Yeah. And so it kind of fixed there's not enough, but then it didn't create opportunity for ownership. And so as someone who's been here kind of before this boom has happened, just curious, what are your thoughts? Like what is that like for you? Pros, cons of that, especially in a city like Charlotte.
It's difficult because it's like the pros are it's a good thing that people want to spend money here. It's a good thing that these institutional investors want to invest here. That it means that they're like I always tell people like I'm not the smartest guy, but if you can follow smart money, like that's important to be able to just keep an eye on. And so these institutional investors, like these hedge funds, that's smart money. And so they're investing it in the city pretty heavily. And I think that's a good thing. It says a lot about the city. It's bad because, we completely wiped out the $200,000 and $300,000 price range for single family homes.
Yeah.
Just completely wiped them out. And for first time buyers and for people who can't just go to 400,000, it makes it really tough. You're not in a neighborhood anymore. You're in an infill development where, someone bought a piece of land for 30, 40 grand, put up a house and you'll buy it for 300 or 350 or whatever it is. And your neighbor's house is, beat to shit.
Yeah.
And so it does get tricky. That's probably the only con, but like, again, the big picture, it's like there's a lot of people still investing in this city. Whether it's the developers who are building these homes, these infill homes, or it's the people who are buying them. I think that like the overarching theme is people are willing to invest in this city, and I think that's the win. And the fact that we have so many people that are moving here every day to either rent those homes or to buy those homes, I think it says a lot about the city as a whole.
Yeah. Do you have concerns with the amount, and not even for new developments? Do you have concerns for when homes get put on the market now that these big investment companies are buying them up? Like the supply or like who controls the supply? Do you have any of that concern?
Not as much anymore because where interest rates are, a lot of these institutional investors aren't as aggressive as they were.
Okay.
When rates were really low, they had all the money to play with in the world,
Right.
like literally billions of dollars to invest in homes. Now that interest rates are where they are, it's like they're not as aggressive. So it does give buyers a better chance. Whereas before, it's like it was interesting because at first these hedge funds like weren't throwing out competitive offers. So homeowners and primary homeowners could beat them out.
Right.
Then they started catching on pretty quickly that they have to be able to throw out like some pretty significant substantial offers.
Right.
And they did that. And then they just started wiping out all of these primary homeowners, people who, you know, make enough to live in a $250,000 house. That's a modest house that is nice. It's nothing crazy, but
Right.
it's a nice house. And then you know, an institutional investor comes in and offers 50 grand more and $50,000 non-refundable, and they'll close it in 2 weeks. It's like you literally can't
Yeah.
say no.
It's
So
impactful money for those people.
big time. And so that made things very difficult for homeowners. And I think now it's shifting back the other way because
Okay.
where again, like 1% change in an interest rate for us may make a certain amount of a difference in our payment. But for those institutional investors, when they're borrowing billions, 1% is a ton,
Yeah.
a ton. So it makes a big difference now, and I think that that's loosened up just a little bit,
Okay.
which will be good. I just hope that whenever they start releasing those homes to the market after they've rented them out enough, like that, you know, they're still in good enough condition that someone could afford it.
Yeah. That's my concern too. Like when it all does level out, like will the average person be able to benefit from that, or will they still be, will it still be hard? But um, for you in your whole journey to get to where you are and success, whether defined by yourself, top 10, what are those things you have learned about yourself to get to where you are?
I'm addicted to this, is what I've learned,
Yeah.
and it for better or for worse sometimes. So sometimes it is good to just take a step back because we just go so hard all the time and we're just moving so fast and we're helping so many people. We're getting blown up all day, every day. It's 7 days a week that we're working, and sometimes it's good to just take a step back and do something that's good for you, for your mental health. I think that's a big piece because mental health in our world, in the entrepreneurial world,
Yeah.
is it's such a big thing and it's so important because we eat what we kill. And I've learned that also, like, the more self-aware you are of what's going on, the better you are able to handle what is getting thrown your way every single day.
Yeah.
I also think like one of the big things that I learned over the years is when people say like, "Oh, I can't do that," or "I'm too busy for that." It's like, it's not that you're too busy to do something. It's that you are intentionally choosing to spend your time doing something else. And I don't
Priorities.
fault people when they don't want to, you know, if they bail on something or they don't come to a birthday party or they don't come to a dinner or whatever it is, and because they're choosing to spend their time doing something else.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh, I can't. I have to do this." It's like, "Oh, I can't. My dog's sick." It's like, well, you can. You're just choosing to take care of your dog, which again, what am I gonna like?
Yeah,
I'm not
like
gonna
that makes
fault you
sense,
for that.
right? Take care of the dog.
But like when you get to the point where you can understand and kind of take a step back and realize that's what's really happening, it helps you make decisions better. It helps you get super intentional with what you're doing, and it also helps you not hold grudges against people if they do have something else that's going
Yeah.
on, because they will say we kind of fall back on that mindset or that like excuse of, "Oh, I'm too busy, I can't." Right? It's like you're not too busy. You're just choosing to do something
And that's
else.
okay.
Yeah, and that's totally okay. So I that was a big thing for me because then it allowed me to like almost take a step back and get super intentional with how I spend my time.
Sure. Yeah. And time is money,
Hmm.
especially in what you're doing. Like your time matters a lot. Is there something you wish you knew earlier in the journey? Like maybe you figured it out in year 6, 7 of real estate that you wish like could have changed everything for you in year 1.
I always say that the biggest thing that I wish I had done early on was documenting the systems and documenting how I do everything,
Really?
because then you can build out these playbooks and then you can hire to that very easily. And so we kind of fumbled our way and like stumbled our way through the hiring process at first, when growing out our team. And I've gotten really lucky. I have the best staff. I have the best operations people. Like, I have the best agents right now. Like, I genuinely have never felt better about where we're at right now than I do right now. And some of like my director of operations has been with me for 5 years, and like, she's family. And that is so important. And I think the biggest thing for people when they're getting started too is just like document how you do everything, but also like make sure you hire the right people.
Yeah.
And you may start off by hiring the wrong people. I don't think I've made bad hires, but I think that what we've got right now is awesome.
Yeah.
And there's reasons that people enter into your life. There's reasons why people leave your life. There's reasons why everything's happening to you when it happens to
Yeah.
you. And I just think that everyone that's been on and off the team has had served a purpose, and I think that everyone has learned something. I think I've learned something, and at the end of the day, no bridges have been burnt, and that to me is the most important thing.
That's everyone can't say that. There is
Right.
one thing before we wrap that you said over coffee that I just think is super interesting and probably different from a lot of realtors. You said your favorite part of the whole process with a client isn't about the close. It is about, I think you said, when they sign, right?
When we go under contract.
When you go under contract. Explain that. I think that is very different than what most people would think a realtor gets excited about.
I think it's because at that point, like that's also like typically, especially for buyers, that's like the highest point of excitement for them that they've had so far. And that excitement can go up or can go down by the time you get to closing, based on whatever happens in the transaction. A lot of it has to do with the house, the inspection, and how the sellers are too.
Right.
And so, but that point when you're going under contract and you get to tell the buyer that they got the house, it's one of the most fun parts of the job. I literally have a meme that I send every time we go under contract on the buy, usually on the sell side too, but every time on the buy side. And it's the Ron Burgundy, and he's like right in your face, and it's like, breaking news, this just in, we're under contract. And it's the best. And I love, like, I'm super gullible, so I love like messing with clients sometimes too. And I'll be like, oh my God, like, you're never going to believe this. Or, oh my God, like, I hope you guys are sitting down. Like, this is going to suck. Like, you have to write a check because you got the house. Like, boom, we're under contract. Like, and it's just fun, like, watching their reaction, because it really is, especially on the buy side, it's the highest point of, like, the peak level of excitement that they've had in the entire process, because they're envisioning themselves in that house, and then it's your job. And this is where I get so mad when people think that realtors are just door openers and paper pushers and stuff. It's like, oh, you get paid to fill in a bunch of blanks. It's like, you have no idea what we do if you think that that's all we do, because we have to go get that house for you. We have to make sure that you are putting together an offer that allows you to get that house. And we have to get the listing agent on board. You have to get the seller on board. And especially, like, I built my business during COVID with a lot of buyers. And that was the hardest time to have buyers, because you're up against multiple offers every single
all the
house.
time.
Every house you show, there's multiple offers. And there was nothing better than being able to submit an offer knowing you're one of 6 or one of 12 offers, and to get that call from that listing agent saying, hey, congratulations. It's the best feeling as an agent. It's the best feeling to be able to tell your buyer that. Like, I get chills talking about it, because it genuinely is it's the best feeling, and you get that dopamine hit, and just, it feels so good. And I chase that. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, when we close that deal, like, it's like I get fired, right?
Yeah.
I'm done working with them.
You've done so good, they don't need you anymore.
The agreement has technically ended when you close, and it's not like, I'm not just coffee where you're going to come back tomorrow and get another cup of coffee. Like, you're going to call hopefully in 7 years on average, right? And not only that, but then in those 7 years, there's 18,000 other agents that are potentially going to get in front of you also.
Yeah.
And so it's hard, and that's where, when we go under contract, it's so exciting. It's so fun.
I left our coffee and was like, that is a take I never have heard from anyone before, and I wanted to make sure you had a chance to talk about that. Okay, where can people find you? Social media, website, all of that. Where can they?
So our website is AndyRE.com.
Okay.
My Instagram is probably the easiest place to find me. It's AndyG_Realtor.
Okay.
I always tell people if you just type in Andy G, you look for the orange guy, that's me. I'm on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Post on TikTok too. So it's like
Okay.
we're all over the place. But Instagram is a big one, and then our website too. But yeah, I mean, we're everywhere.
Okay. And honestly, if you can't tell from this episode how much this man loves what he does, I don't know how else to convince you. And I think that's something that I really appreciate. And passion in whatever somebody is doing, I think passion is easy to see, it's easy to feel. And so if you're looking to buy a house, sell a house in Charlotte, you want somebody who's going to do it passionately, who's going to care, who wants to be your friend to help tackle and block all the issues that you might have. This is your guy right here. And he's a Hokie, and we're the best. So please make sure you support if you need anything when it comes to real estate. This is your guy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And I was also going to throw in a little Virginia Tech thing here it's all over in Blacksburg, all over campus, Ut Prosum that I may serve. And I do genuinely believe that I'm serving our community and helping our community with such a big thing that they're trying to accomplish, whether it's selling a home or buying a home. And I get my team involved in that. I train everybody on that. And
a life of service. I got it tattooed here a week before graduation. Ut Prosum on the side here. And it truly, when that is at the heart of what you want to do, it's always bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Always. So thank you so much for keeping that Hokie spirit here in everything that you're doing. And congratulations again. Top 10 is huge. So next year I'm looking for top 5. And I know you'll get there. I know you get there. But I hope you have time to celebrate and what an accomplishment and recognition in our city. So thank you for your time. And we will see you on our next episode. Thank you.